Yo, fellas,
And so I think there's some business decisions, and I think there's some technical decisions on why these servers haven't been upgraded. During the beta, we had great servers, and so I think the beta was on a different
Phenomenal.
tier of service. Not connected
The
to
beta,
the same service.
The beta felt great. A lot of I was telling people when I hopped onto the Modern Warfare 2, it didn't feel like Modern Warfare 1 or Warzone 1, which I was okay with, right? I wasn't gonna judge it too soon.
Yeah.
But I mean, chat, the audio, the audio is phenomenal, crisp. I swear to God, I cannot hear. I can't even hear in real life that well. I don't even understand. So this is a perfect segue. I have a number of questions I want to ask you. What happened? What could have possibly happened from the beta to the game, right? So my theory, I think they just said only realistically, right? The average player, the average dad who's just coming home just after like a 40-hour shift, realistically like a 40-hour work week, right? He wants to come home, kick back. He probably has a whack headset. Audio's not going to matter for him anyway. It's not. He probably doesn't have the equipment for that. That's only for really sweaty, hardcore gamer, gung ho Call of Duty Warzone players, right? I believe that they nerfed audio specifically for that reason. I there's no way they could have botched it that bad, in my opinion. But if you could explain what could have possibly happened, because again, I know you're not an employee of Activision, and I might just be a conspiracy theorist, right? But if you could just tell me what could have possibly happened from the beta to the game that screwed up audio that badly.
All right, I think two things happened. I think one, the sweats complained because they couldn't move.
Very, very.
If you remember, there was a lot of that. And the thing that you have to remember, and the thing that everyone has to remember, Modern Warfare 2019 and Warzone 1 were the same game, right? They were the same set of files with some differences, right?
Right.
And Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 were designed to function seamlessly. The whole point was that there's one engine, it powers everything all the time, so that when they add new things to it, when they create the next game, it's still on the same engine. You don't have the collisions and the problems that Black Ops Cold War had and Vanguard had when you introduced it.
Right.
Okay? That means the audio is the same. And I think what they did is they went in and they said, all right, everybody's pissed. They hate the audio. It's killing them. They're not able to play very well in the beta.
Really?
And, people loved it, right? Like, until they had to move. And then I could sit here and I could hear footsteps like 3 doors down. And I'm like, oh, the guy's coming.
There, yeah.
Let me get my gun out.
Yeah.
And that was the big complaint. And so what they did is they started making changes. Simultaneous to this, everyone discovered that they'd hired these Hulu guys to do the UI, and the UI was terrible. It's still bad. But I mean, I think that was like the number one complaint most people have, is how hard it was to maneuver things. And I think they were screwing with the audio, and they were screwing with the UI, and they're screwing with stuff on the back end, and I think they broke something. And I think it was one of those things of like, they broke it and they couldn't put it back together the way it was, and they've been fighting with that ever since.
Mm-hmm. You referenced this probably like 20 minutes ago when we first started talking. You were taking me through the process of what it looks like to create a game, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, etc., and then year 1, year 2, year 3, and what it looks like throughout that progression. I need to understand where they get their information for what players want. Because if I go to my Twitter feed, obviously I follow a bunch of content creators and streamers, and literally it's just spam posts of Warzone sucks, Warzone's a disappointment. It's literally it's a ball of negativity, and that's all I get from it.
Mine too.
Right, exactly. So I would love to know, and if you have any insight as to where they get their information, like whose decision was it to say, let's take out slide kit sling? Whose decision was it to say, if you want to do any sort of movement, it's going to penalize you. You want to jump and shoot, you want to slide, you want to try and slide and shoot, if you want to drop shot, everything is going to be who comes up with these decisions, and where do they get that information and data from? Because I've never gotten any surveys. Believe me, I would have sent a survey in. They sent me one. I promise you they would have heard from me.
Yeah, I don't get a survey either. So I think
only the 0.75 KDs and below, they only get the surveys. Only them.
Exactly. Yeah.
The average KDs. Yeah.
So all right, I think what goes on is there's two different sets of data that exist. There's the data that we see as consumers, right? When we look around and we see our Twitter feeds, we see Reddit, we see all these different places, and we see and we form kind of a hive opinion of how things are and what's important and what's not important.
Right.
And then On the development side, they have data that comes from all sorts of places. So I mean, I don't know how much you've read up on like Facebook. I'll use Facebook as an example on what Facebook does and what they what they track, right? Facebook looks, it knows if you're scrolling your phone. It knows how long your finger is touching the screen. It knows how long you linger on that picture of that scantily clad girl that you definitely shouldn't be lingering on to that long, right? It knows all of this. And what it does is it logs in your phone as you use it. How long do you have the phone open for? Did you pull it out? Did you turn it on because you got a notification? Did you turn it? Did you activate it within X number of seconds of a notification? Did you activate it? Did you pick it up and go straight there? Like all of these things, it tracks all of that information in very fine detail. And then that's how they know your behavior. That's how they know if they send you 3 notifications in a row, you're gonna pick up your phone 9 times out of 10, right? They know this stuff. Call of Duty does the same thing. Game developers do the same thing. Software people, it's all this. Everything gets logged, right? So in the game, they can capture telemetry from a game that says, all right, player A was looking this direction. And then, I'm trying to, I'm waving my hands and it's like below the cameras. Right. Bear with me. Player A is looking this direction. And then they turn this way and they fire their gun twice and then they die, right? Player B was looking this direction, looked this direction, slid this way, then, pressed A twice, and then used a stim, came over here, slide canceled, and shot this person in the back, and they died, okay? Mm-hmm. They can look at their telemetry and deconstruct that gunfight. And then, over time, they can look for trends, right? So over 6 months of play, all right, what is the percentage of time that person A, who just walks forward and looks and crouches and, bot moves, right?
Right.
That they die to somebody playing like this, playing like a sweat. And then over time, they can see how often does that happen and how often does it lead to them not coming back. Right? Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of data set that they want to try and build. So they monitor all this stuff and they know who slide cancels and who doesn't. They know how often a crouch walking heartbeat sensor in the middle of the field gets killed 3 times in a night. I would pay
an insurmountable amount of money to have that data. I just want to know how many people walk around crouch walking with the heartbeat sensor out.
A lot.
Chat. It would be unreal. It would be unreal. I would love to know.
Go watch Expel's videos. You'll see.
Oh yeah,
a lot.
Hey, chat. Have you guys ever just spectated players after you die? It's like I want to see who killed me. I want to see this guy. Let me see this guy in action. Yeah. And you just think there's no way. There's no way this guy acts. Anyway. But no,
look, I'm an average player, and I'll do that, and I'll be like, this guy killed me. He's hacking, and I'm like, he's dog shit. How did I die to that?
It doesn't make any sense, right? You're constantly gonna have those questions.